Hello, everybody.
No, good
Happy
morning.
Friday.
Happy
Good morning.
Friday. How's your hair feeling? And your beard, I mean.
It's gone.
I know, I watched.
I know it's already coming back though. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep it really close and not let it go down to my chest again. That was a little too much. It's a little bit more comfortable now, which is good.
Good.
But
It
yeah,
looks good.
we'll wait a couple more minutes to get started. That way we can make sure everybody gets in. So have any of you looked at the goals, spot inside of command, the reports, that area?
I honestly haven't.
Yeah, I really didn't until last month. Oh, Margot, it looks like you're muted there.
Yeah, I just looked at them, and so I didn't do anything,
Yeah, it's something that I didn't even look at until last month. With all this the transition and stuff, there's been a lot going on, so most people haven't had a chance to really look at some of the new features that we have, and it's a really cool feature. You can track your goals, you can track your business entirely through it. Kind of the same way that any business that you ever go to, the manager tracks their conversion rates, different kind of rates, year over year, all that stuff. You can do that within Command with your own business. So I think it's a really underutilized tool. There's not a whole lot of information out there that people have really been using it. Some people that I know have been using it are on teams, and they can track their entire team business, and it's really, really cool. So Sandy in Gulfside wanted me to do a class on this here, and I'll do more and more of them. It's pretty basic. You basically set your goals in there. You track pretty much all business that you get, whether they're leads, contacts, any of that stuff. You'll want to start an opportunity for each of them, and that's how it goes through and actually tracks them. So you can find out your conversion rate, how many contacts or how many leads it typically takes to close a deal. That way you can know in any given month, okay, I need to add 30 people to my Command database in order to close at least one property. So getting that information is super valuable. It may sound like it's just gathering a bunch of data and looking at a bunch of numbers, but it's definitely helpful. So super cool class. It should be fun to teach. I've never taught it before. I had to go through and watch all the small amount of videos to learn about it, kind of play around with it myself. But yeah, it's great. Hopefully I'll be able to record a training class. That way everybody can view it on their own time and all that. But basically what we're doing is we're just going to go in, put in what our goals are, what we want to make this year, and then try to be diligent. And I know it can be tough sometimes to create an opportunity for every single lead that you get, because that can get a little bit tiring trying to put in all that information. But it definitely pays off with the insights that you get about your own business, instead of just running out, grabbing leads as many as you can, and then working each of them and not really knowing how many you need to get to the next point. So pretty cool stuff. It should be great. I'm not sure how many people will get in here because it's a pretty mundane, I guess, title for the training. But I think next time I'll spruce it up and say track your business, or learn where you can increase your business, or how many leads it takes to make one deal.
So we'll be your guinea pigs today. Huh?
Exactly. You absolutely are. I don't know. I've been so caught up with helping people with transactions and DocuSigns and meetings and changes that I barely had time to really go over it. But luckily, it's a pretty simple process. They made it really easy, and it's really going to be based on what you yourself consider to be your goal for the year, whether it's to make $1 billion or $10 billion. We'll start high. That would be crazy. That would take at least thousands
like
of
my
contacts.
son would say, you have high hopes, huh?
Exactly. I mean, you always have to. But yeah, it looks like it's 11:03. We'll wait till 11:05 and we'll officially get started. But anybody have any fun post 4th of July weekend plans? Last week was 4th of July weekend, right?
First one all by myself, but I did okay.
That's good. That's good.
It was different, for sure.
I get to fire off some fireworks, and I have all of my fingers in both of my hands. So
yeah, there was a
count that
lot of
as a
fireworks for
success.
sure around the subdivision, just because nobody could go anywhere. So that was pretty.
Exactly. Yeah, I live in Ybor, and there were tons and tons of fireworks. I went up north a little bit to Safety Harbor. Lots of fireworks out there as well. It's good. Right. right, so I'm not sure how many more people we're going to be getting in here. That is all right. Let's see. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Since you guys are my guinea pigs, welcome to goals training. I got this little thing so when I say something important, I can get everybody's attention, and so I can annoy every single one of my friends. So let me get my mouse real quick here. So we will go ahead and get started. I will bring up my command here, and it may be helpful for me to share my screen. So what you can do, and since it's pretty simple, you all can follow along as well. Do you have more than one monitor, or are you just working with one? Just one? Okay.
I only have one right now.
That's okay. It should be pretty easy to remember, really. But if you want to, you can follow along, and then you can just let me know once you reach the step that I'm at there. So let me take a look. Actually, I only have one right now as well. My other computer stole the other one. So what we'll do is you can see I'm in command here. I am not Krista Jensen today. I'm not doing DocuSign right now. So I'll sign out and go to mine. I'm going to mess up their goals. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to go to the report section in command. It's the one that has the little bar graph there. Once we click on reports, go ahead and hide the camera thing there so I have a little bit more room. So once we go to the reports area, you can see we've got a database overview. It tells us how many records we have. Right now I've got 77 contacts and 1 lead. It gives us our database health score as well. It'll tell us the percentage of the database with a phone number, an email address, an address, neighborhoods, home anniversary, and birthday. So that just kind of gives you the health of your database. Now, in the upper right-hand corner, next to database health, we've got compare. So if you click on compare, it will compare your database health versus the rest of the agents in your market center. All the agents in the state, and you can do all agents entirely. Also, all the agents in the production bracket right above yourself, the ones inside of your production bracket. So you can kind of compare yourself to see where you're at versus everybody else. Always good to be at 100%. It is a lofty goal, but it can be done. The main thing with the database health is you want to have their phone number, email address, neighborhood, home anniversary, birthday, pretty much as much information as you can get. So that'll increase your database score with each contact there. You've got the database activity score. It's pretty self-explanatory. It tells you the percentage of your database reached out to in the last 0 to 30 days. Last 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 91 or more days. You can also compare that as well with agents in the market center as well, or in your production bracket, also all agents in Keller Williams entirely. So that's a little bit about the dashboard that you see here. What we're going to be looking at right now is we're going to be going into goals. So if you scroll up to the top, you should have goals up towards the top where it says dashboard, reports, and goals. So we're really going to focus on goals this time. We're not going to work with the reports, but you can play around with it there. It'll give you reports about your database, reports about the business you've done. All the information that feeds into here is fed in through the context area and the opportunities area. As you can see, where our goals versus actual, we've got leads, contacts, appointments set, appointments kept, agreements under contract, and closed units. So from here, you can see what your annual goal is, and we're going to be setting that in just a couple of moments. And where you're at as far as a percentage to that goal, to reach that goal that you put in the beginning. Now you can see these each correspond to a phase inside of our opportunities pipeline, inside of our sales pipeline there. So that's really where it's going to be pulling all that information from. So what we're going to do, if you look up towards the upper right, where we've got goal settings and 2020 goals, we're going to select 2020 goals because we're going to be working with this year, and then we're going to click on goal settings. And it's going to bring you up to a little Kelly guide here. It's going to tell you that you're going to set your goals and you're going to review your goals, and that's how you're going to be tracking it throughout the year. You can make sure that everything works perfectly for you here. So we'll go ahead and click on Get Started. Now, you can see along the left-hand side, we've got our profit goal. We've got our business makeup. So whether it's going to be 50% listings and 50% buyers, average commission per unit that you're going to need here. So the first step is we're going to look over to the right. This is where we're going to enter in that information. So this is where you can put in your 2020 annual profit goal. So you'll want to type in how much you expect to make as profit. So that's after taxes, after expenses, after everything. So you're going to want to put in a number there. You can put in 1 million, you can put in 100,000, 40, 50, however much you want to make as your goal for the year of 2020. And next to each of these, you can see if you hover over the little I, it's going to give you a little bit more information on there. So this is the annual profit goal, is the amount of profit for your business before taxes and after subtracting the cost of sales and operating expenses from your GCI. So this is going to be everything before taxes, so you want to take that into account whenever you put that number in. We'll go ahead and scroll down a little bit. You can see we've got the year-to-date sales volume. So you can put in your sales year-to-date. So you're going to want to put in the amount of your sales year-to-date. And for this instance, since we're about July, I'm going to go ahead and say that I've so far done 25,000 as my sales volume. So below that, we've got our expenses. So you want to type in your expenses here that are made whether or not a transaction takes place. So any sort of salaries, if you're paying somebody to do some work for you, any lead generation, marketing expenses, so those Facebook ads, you want to add that in there. Education, if you have an office, your car expenses, so insurance, gas, things like that. You want to put in your expenses there for how much they are per year. So I'm going to put in, let's say I'm just going to put in 10,000. Now the cost of sales, if we hover over that, you can see it says expenses that are made only when a transaction takes place. So splits to agents, transaction coordinators, ISAs, the market center and brokerage, and any referral fees and anything else that is transaction dependent. So whenever you actually make the transaction, you make the sale, any money that gets cut out from there, whether it's, even if it's a donation to the KW Cares, anything that comes out from that money that you're expecting to get from that transaction, you want to enter that in there. So I'm going to say for this one, we'll say that this one is 50,000. Now, some of these numbers that I'm putting in may not make a whole lot of sense. As a disclosure, I'm not a realtor. I'm not a real estate agent yet, still working through getting that licensing. So you should have a little bit better of an idea of what your cost of sales and expenses are going to be than me here. So the next part is your business makeup, the balance between buyers and sellers in your business. So from here, if you typically do more listings than buyers, you want to account for that here. We don't really handle leases here in our offices, but if you do handle any of those, you want to say what percentage of your business that is. Now, from all the trainings that I saw, they followed the MREA, and it's 50% listings, 50% buyers are the goals. So you can use that as well. But if you know yourself a little bit better and you know that you typically handle more listings than buyers, you want to increase that number a little bit more. So for this, let's say that I'm going to do, say I do 60, 40. And you can see if I type in an amount that does not equal 100%, like let's say if I do 30, it'll give me a little warning, say that it should make up 100%. So that'll help out to check that against there. Now the average commissions per units, the balance between buyers and sellers in the business here. So you're going to put in your average commission for the listing and for the buyers. So for that information, I do not know what the typical commission would be. So you'll want to make sure that you look back at your own business. You find out how many listings and or what the commission for the listings and commissions for the buyers are there. So you want to enter in that information here. And once you've done that, you can see here it gives us a nice little dashboard of of what we just entered in there. So you can see that in order for me to make $100,000 as my annual profit goal, I'm going to need to bring in $160,000 for annual GCI. So you can see it takes those expenses and it kind of puts those together and subtracts it, adds it to our profit goal. So once we are done here, you can see we've got the monthly profit goal. So I'm going to have to make at least $8,333 in order to make that $100,000 annual profit goal. And it's going to calculate little information like that along the way. That way we can get a better idea of where we need to be each month, and even through the year to date. So what we will do, we will go ahead and hit next on here. And this is not filling up the screen as I had anticipated here. Let's see, so my screen size is a little bit smaller than it should be. Bear with me just a moment so we can get a nice view of everything here. And I'm just going to change my resolution here. There we go, so I should be able to see a little bit more of it. So we can just do full screen. There we go, so we still have a little bit more. Sorry about that, it may be a little bit cut off here. Excuse me. So what we're going to be looking at now, you can see here on the left-hand side, we've got our conversion rates, and that's what I was talking a little bit about earlier. Those conversion rates are very important. So you can see we've got our conversion rates here. So leads, people who have shown interest in the services you offer, but haven't engaged in a two-way conversation. So if you put out a Facebook ad and you get some leads from there, that's where they're going to fall into. So what we want to do is we want to look at that. We want to take a look back and think of the leads that we got from Facebook or leads from any lead source. So out of how many, let's say if you get, let's say we get 100 leads in a month. Now, how many of those leads actually moved into as a contact? So somebody that we've built a two-way conversation with and have established a value-based relationship. How many of those leads, what percentage of those leads turn into actual contacts after that? So you would want to put that number in here over the side. So we could say for the default here, it's 5%. And these numbers are pretty good. So what you'd want to do is do some homework, take a look at all the leads that you've gotten, kind of figure out how many actually moved into contacts and you had a two-way conversation with, and then they would turn into a contact from the lead. Then you could find that percentage, and you'd want to enter that into the leads to contacts here. So in this instance, 5% of my leads have turned into contacts. The next one is the contacts, leads that you have held a two-way conversation with and have established a value-based relationship with. So if you're talking about real estate, they're talking about buying, talking about what they want, and this is all before the appointment. So you'll want to go through and you want to think about how many of those people that you've actually talked with and had a two-way conversation with have actually turned into an appointment that was set. So if you set an appointment, say, hey, we're going to meet up for coffee on Tuesday, and we're going to talk about real estate, what your needs are, and how I can help you out with it. So we want to take a look at that and see what that conversion rate is. So you can see the appointment set here. We've got 75%. So 75% of the people, so one moment here. Let me just make sure I've got this information right here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so typically 5% of your contacts are going to change into a set appointment. So you'll actually meet up with them in person and speak about in person or via Zoom in the world we're in right now, how many you're going to go and actually set up an appointment with and talk about it, talk about their real estate needs. So if you want to look back on that and kind of think, and even if you have the numbers of the appointments that you've set versus how many contacts you gain in that amount of time, you can find that conversion rate there. So of that, the appointments that were set, 75% of appointments set is the amount of appointments that were actually kept. So you'll want to go back and look through and see how many appointments you've set, kind of think about that, and then how many of them actually showed up for it, and they actually kept that appointment. For this, it looks like it's saying 75%. I am not sure if that is a, if that's a little, I can't think of the word, my brain's not quite working this morning. Ambitious goal. I'm not sure exactly how many of the appointments are actually kept once they're scheduled, but you want to look back and kind of think about it and figure out about how many, what percentage of those appointments that were set were actually kept where you met those clients. And you can see as we're going through here, this is all the lead gen portion of it. As you can see, we've got the little key right here. This portion is all the lead gen. So all that wonderful time that you spend following up with people, making contacts, talking to people, that all falls under all of this information here. So now we come to the appointments kept area. And this is where you actually kept those appointments with those clients versus ones that actually take place here. So for that one, we've got it set to 75%. Again, you'll be able to look through your database, look through your opportunities if you've been tracking them, and you can find that number there. Now, again, all this information is going to be it's going to be dependent upon your opportunities area. That's why it's so important that as soon as you get a contact or a lead, you put them into the opportunity pipeline. You can put them under cultivate. That way you can get a better idea of your business and actually come up with these numbers. That way you can find out, once we finish this, you'll be able to see how many leads you need to get per month in order to reach your monthly goal. So the next part is the appointments kept to the agreements. So inclusive agreements mean you and your clients to do business with each other. So once they sign that listing agreement or that buyer agreement, that is the agreement stage there. So 75% of the appointments kept is what it's saying is how many people were actually signed an agreement with you to do business. So again, if you do not know that information, it's a good idea to start tracking those opportunities. Every single contact you get, it may take a couple more minutes, but the numbers that you get, the information is going to be invaluable. You'll be able to tell how many people you need to talk to in order to reach your goal. So the next one is the agreements to under contract or pending. And now you can see we get into the profit goal area of this. So once you get those agreements, typically 75% of those agreements are going to become under contract, or they're going to become pending. So again, you'll want to use your opportunities to track this number. That way you can get some insight on those numbers for yourself. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different. What we have right now is the 75%. I believe that these numbers do come from that MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So that's where these numbers are coming from, is where I believe they come from. But if you track all your opportunities, you can get those personalized goals. You can find out exactly what your numbers are. Yours may even be higher, but this is just what they suggest on here. Now, under contract or pending, accepted legally binding offers on homes or when the landlord or tenant have signed a lease. Now, the closed units, transactions between a buyer and seller that have taken place with your assistance. So once you make that closing, they're saying that 75% of your under contract or pending agreements are going to go into closed contracts, and that's going to be the breakdown of that. So once you have those numbers on there, I would say spend a little bit of time and really think and be really honest with yourself and with the numbers and put those in there, because it's only going to benefit you whenever you have that correct information. This will not work if the information is incorrect. If we go through and we get 100 leads, we follow up with all of them, and let's say 2 of them actually lead to become a contact, then we would have that 2% conversion rate. So we'll just want to make sure that we're aware of that. And then obviously that would mean that we would have to get quite a few leads. That's why typically 5% is a decent number to start with. But again, tracking those opportunities is a huge part of this. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit save and continue. And you can see here, we've got we're going to review our goals. So we're going to make sure that it's all correct. We've got our numbers here. These are all correct for us. We've got our annual profit goal, which I mentioned was 100,000. The cost of sales is going to be 50,000 per year, and the operating expenses are going to be 10,000 per year. So it's saying that we need a 160,000 annual estimated GCI. So we're going to have to make 160,000 GCI each year in order for us to actually get that $100,000 profit to ourselves, and then we'll have to take out taxes from that. So you want to make sure you work with that. So, and we've got our commission per unit here. We've got our business makeup, 60% listings, 40% buyers. Once we have all this information up, we're just kind of reviewing at this point. We'll say it's all good. We'll hit what's next. So from here, you can see we can take a look. We can look at our smart plans. We can add contacts into our smart plan, make those smart plans. We can go to our reports, which is what we're going to be doing to take a look and track those goals that we've got. Then we've got our command home screen where we can just go back to the home screen. So for our purpose, we're going to go to view my goals. And you can see from the numbers that I put in there, I need to get 28,290 leads in order for me to reach that 100,000 annual profit goal. So what that's doing is that's saying that in order for me to move all the way to the very end and meet my goal, I'm going to need about 28,290 leads per year. Now, of those leads, I need to convert 1,415 from leads into contacts, which means I need to have a two-way conversation with 1,415 people over the course of the year in order for me to meet my goal. Now you can see these are based off of the 5%. 5% of 28,290 is 1,415. The appointment set, so out of that, 5% of 1,415 is going to come out to 70. So I'm going to have 70 appointments set throughout the year in order for me to reach my goal. And it goes on, so you can see we've got to have 53 appointments kept. This is where it jumps from that 5% to that 75%. So once you set an appointment, most people will want to show up to the appointment. They won't want to dip out on you. Oh, Margaret, do you have a question?
I did have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are these numbers from today, like for the next 6 months when we enter this information, or is it the complete 12-month cycle?
Oh, yeah, glad you asked. So this is the complete 12-month cycle. This is how much I have to get in an entire year.
Okay.
So I need to close 22 units. Now the cool thing is that you can change it to this month. So I can see how many people I need to get this month.
Okay.
So each month I've got to get 4,715 leads, convert 223 to contacts, got to have those two-way conversations with 223 people. The appointment set, I need to set at least 11 appointments with them. The kept appointments, 9 of them have to show up. 7 of them have to say, yes, I want to do business with you. 5 of them have to say, okay, yes, I'm going to go under contract with you. And then 3 of those 5 need to close. So again, those numbers we put in, those are based on the default numbers, which I believe is that MREA book. But yours may be different. Your leads, you may get more targeted leads. You may follow up with people. You may do lead gen with people that you know or people that are within your circle. In that case, that conversion rate is going to be much higher. So that's where it really comes into tracking your business. That's why those opportunities are so incredibly important. Is they're not only just so we can start a transaction just to get the hell out of command and start a transaction, get that paperwork done. It's actually going to benefit us because we can see exactly what we need to do each month in order to meet our goals. And that's why it's so incredibly important and such a cool tool. So yeah, if we close 3 units per month, we're going to reach that goal based on our average commission that we set forth in the beginning. So does anybody have any questions up to this point about the process here? Very good. Yeah, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. We put in our goals. We should all know a little bit about our business and what we typically close and how many leads we get there and how many of those turn into contacts. So it's pretty cool because you can also check it out by the listings. Since I put mine as being a little bit more listing heavy, if I click on listings, I'm going to need to close 2 listing deals. I'm going to need to close 2 buyer deals here, it looks like, as well. This isn't right. It says 0 leads, 0 contacts, 5 appointments set. So that's not good. I will go ahead and take a look and find out why that's broken, and we'll get that fixed. But the numbers should add up here for the year and for the month with both of them combined there. So you can see you can also compare yourself with all agents, agents in your market centers. So you can do comparisons with other people within KW, and that can kind of help you out with seeing where you're at. It looks like a lot more people have gotten more leads than me. A lot more people have gotten more contacts than me. More people have had appointments set. All that information because I don't really go sell real estate. So that is why it is showing there. So we're going to turn off that comparison. So you can see down below here, we've got our goal conversion rates. 28,290 leads, 1,415 contacts. We've got our activities breakdown. So it's going to tell us what we've done so far. I've made a lot of smart plans since I'm doing a lot of training on smart plans, so I make a ton of them. It'll show you other meetings, calls, texts, that information here. And you can see the key is right down here. So this is going to tell you what you're doing. So if one month, let's say you hit your goal, you blow the monthly goal out of the water, you can look back at that specific month and you can find out exactly what it was that you did during that time to do that kind of business. And then you can try to mimic what you did that last time to see if you can repeat those results with with those activities there. So again, this is a really powerful tool. There's a lot to it, and it all really just starts with tracking your business, tracking those conversion rates, tracking every single client that you get, any contact you get, create an opportunity. That way you can track it, and this tool could be incredibly powerful and useful for you. So that's really it as far as the goals go. Did you find this useful? Cool. Did you know that this even existed on there? Yeah, so it's
very cool.
It's a pretty great thing, and yeah, if you look at really any other business, any retail store, anything whatsoever, they all track their conversion rates. They know exactly how many people they need to have through the door in order to reach the goal for the year, and typically they do reach those goals when they meet those conversion rates. So it's just like any other business. Your business is not going to be any different. You gotta find those conversion rates and use those as your goals.
Awesome.
Yeah, very good. Hello, Anna. We've already gone through most of it. I can do a quick recap for you if you'd like, though.
Yes, it's fine. I've been like looking on the system, but it will be good to understand a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So so I already went through it one time. I'll go through it again for you. Margot and Cassie, you can hang out if you'd like to. You're also free to go. It is
All right.
Friday.
Thank
Since
you.
this is my first time training this, it's good for me to repeat it for sure. So thanks for
I'll
coming
see you
in.
at
Anna.
12:30. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Oh wait, what's happening at 12:30?
Don't you have I have on my calendar DocuSign opportunities again? I know
Yes,
I've
I
been
do.
it a few
That's
times,
right.
but I got to
Yeah,
keep watching it.
I got you. My brain isn't working today.
So your Friday's not over when you're done with Anna now.
Oh no, of course not. My Friday's
Just
never
kidding.
over.
I'm just kidding. See
All
you
right,
later.
thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, no problem. So what we'll do, we're going to start off in command. And I'm just going to go a little bit over some of the goals on here. Looks like you get a nice one-to-one training. You can feel free to ask any questions during the training.
Okay.
I'm going to act like I'm still training to a whole group of people because that was the first time I've trained this, and it's a pretty complex subject. So welcome to Goals Training in Command. Oh wait, this didn't work. So I've got a cool little air horn now that I can play whenever something exciting happens or something important. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off by going to the report section of command. So you can always hit the red KW in the upper left and we'll show that little red KW symbol. We're going to go into reports. Now it's going to give us a database overview on our dashboard. It's going to tell us how many contacts we have on there, how many leads. We can go through, look at our database health, and we can even compare it to other agents within our market center. In your state, all the agents in KW. So really cool stuff there. You can see where you stack up against them as far as your database health. And it's going to give you a little bit more information on how that's calculated here. And you can see your database activity score. You can compare that as well. So you can see the percentage reached out to in the last 0 to 30 days, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 91 or more. So that is going to give you a breakdown of that. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to go into goals here. And this is where we're actually going to set our goal. So this is the goals dashboard. We're not going to look at this quite yet. We want to first set our goal in here. So to do that, in the upper right corner, we're going to make sure that we choose our 2020 goals. And we're going to hit goal settings right up there. And this is going to bring us into and yeah, if you want to follow along, actually, we can get that work done.
I am in the two, like, look at you and trying to go in my calendar. So I am like, yes, I've been, so because, good. Uh-huh.
Very good. So yeah, once we hit the goal settings, we're going to hit get started. This is going to bring us to the wizard where we're going to actually type in our goals here. So you can see we've got it set for the year 2020. So the next blank is what are our 2020 annual profit goal? And if you hover over the little I, it tells you a little bit more information. So this 2020 annual profit is the amount of profit you need to earn before taxes and after subtracting the cost of sales and operating expenses. So, you know, if you do any sort of splits with anybody or referral fees, things like that that come out of your transaction, you want to disregard that part of it. Also, same thing with sales and operating expenses. This is how much money you want to make after you've already taken all those out. So, yeah, and from there you can choose whatever you want your annual profit to be. You can do 50,000, 75,000, 100,000. I'm going to change mine to 50,000 this time. So my annual goal, or so my 2020 profit goal is going to be $50,000. That's how much I want to take before taxes. So the next is the year-to-date sales volume. So this is going to be how many sales you've made year-to-date. So if you've made any sales so far this year, you'll want to type in the number of how many sales. I'm going to say for this instance, I have not made a single thing because I have not sold any real estate.
No yet. No yet.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not even licensed. I'm just a technology person.
No. Oh, I thought you was the license.
Yeah, I mean, I'm halfway through the my study guide for it, so I'm going to take it and I'll get it eventually. So, but we'll say right now I've made 0 sales quite yet. And then we're going to go through and we're going to go to our expenses. So this is going to be expenses that are made whether or not a transaction takes place. So if you pay somebody for any sort of administrative work, any lead generation costs for paying for those ads, marketing expenses, education, if you have an office, your car, your insurance, your gas, obviously an important thing for a car. So you want to put any expenses like that in there. I'm just going to say that these are, in this case, they're about 6,000. I don't have a whole lot of expenses, keep things pretty lean. So the next part is the cost of sales. So expenses that are made only when a transaction takes place. So splits to agents, transaction coordinators and ISAs, transaction center, market center and brokerage, as well as like referral fees and other transaction dependent expenses. So even if you donate to KW Cares with each transaction, you want to kind of look at at what you've taken out so far and put that in there, the average cost of sales for the year there. So for this, we will say that is going to be 2,000 for this one.
Okay.
And that may be a little bit higher. This is all going to be dependent on your own numbers. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. So the next part is the business makeup. What percentage of your business comes from listing and how much of it comes from buyers? So typically from the beginning, it was set to 50-50. So I'm going to go ahead and choose 50-50 as well. So my goal is to get 50% of my business from listings, 50% from the buyers. If you typically only handle listings, you can even move that up even higher to 90% and then 10% for buyers. So whichever side you do more business with, you want to kind of put that percentage split on there. Now the next part is the average commission per unit. So this is going to depend on the area, and this is going to depend a lot on your own business, the commission that you typically get from it. So you want to put that information on there. And you want to make sure it's accurate. And the main thing as we're filling this out is it's really important to put in accurate numbers. If we don't have accurate numbers, it's not going to give us that overhead view of what exactly it is we need to do. So it's real important to make sure that everything on there is accurate. So for mine, 7,150, I guess, is what my average commission is. So we will hit the next button down here. Actually, first I'll go over this real quick. So the GCI breakdown, so the annual estimated GCI, what I need to bring in for GCI, I'm gonna have to bring in 58,000 in order for myself to make that $50,000 annual profit.
So that's the total that you have to do on Keller Williams to get the 50,000, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's, and if you look at that number, it's really just, it's really just going to be our expenses and cost of sales added on to our profit goal. So that's why the
Okay.
cost of sales, typically, I believe there's more that comes out of the transactions here. So we'll do, let's just go ahead and do 8,000. So our cost of sales, after any sort of things that come out of our transaction, it's going to be a little bit more. And let's say my expenses are actually 7,000. That's a little more realistic, I think.
Okay.
So in order for me to bring home $50,000 before taxes, I'm going to need to, my GCI is going to have to be 65,000. So all my commissions have to equal up to 65,000 in order for me to take home that 50. So we'll go ahead and scroll down and we'll hit next on here. And so now we get into our conversion rates area, and this part is extremely important. So these numbers are going to depend on your own personal business. So we're going to want to find out our conversion rate for leads. So people who have shown interest in the services you offer, but haven't engaged in a two-way conversation. So how many leads do you typically get within a year? And then how many of those leads actually become a contact? So leads that you've talked to in a two-way conversation with and have established a value-based relationship. So of those leads, who have you talked to? Have they talked to you back? Have you talked about real estate? If so, they become a contact. So you need to figure out about how many of those leads actually turn into contacts, and you want to put that percentage right over here on the side. So this is assuming that 5% of our leads turn into actual two-way conversations. If those leads turn into contacts more, you can increase that percentage rate there. So that's going to be how many, like let's say out of 100 leads that I get, only 5 of them have a two-way conversation with me, then I've got my 5% there.
Yeah.
So contacts to appointments set. So what that is our contacts. So our contacts are leads, as we said, that they're the people that we have a two-way conversation with. So out of those contacts that we have that two-way conversation with, how many appointments do we set with them? How many are we able to say, hey, let's go get coffee on Tuesday, or have a Zoom meeting and we're going to talk about real estate and your needs. So for this one, it says that it's 5% of the contacts that I have that two-way conversation with, 5% of them actually turn into an appointment set. Now, these numbers are going to vary based on your own personal business. So if you get leads from your immediate social circle, typically that conversion rate is going to be a little bit higher, and you'll want to kind of account for that on there. Now, the one thing that you want to remember is that all the information that pulls in through here is going to come from our opportunities pipeline. So in order to track these numbers, in order to track them accurately, what I always recommend doing is anytime you add a lead to your database, start an opportunity, put them in that cultivate stage. If you have that two-way conversation with them, you can move them to the next step and the next step, and that's actually going to track your conversion rate. So you'll be able to find out the actual conversion rate of your entire business.
That is the pipeline that we have, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the opportunities. So yeah, it's not just for transactions; it's for every step of the process. So from the moment that you talk to them to the moment you close a deal with them. So you'll be able to kind of move them through that pipeline. And if you start doing that now, within a couple of months, you'll be able to actually get a meaningful number of conversion rate. So this one assumes that it's 5% of the contacts that we get turn into appointments set. Now, the appointments that are kept here, so contacts to appointments set.
Maybe.
So yeah, 5% of those, go ahead.
No. I am reading
Okay.
what we have there.
Okay, I gotcha. So yeah, so of those appointments set, what it says is typically 75% of those people that set appointments with you are going to actually show up to the appointment. So that's going to be our conversion rate for that. Yours may be 100% if you're so cool and awesome and you set an appointment and every single person goes to that appointment, you're at 100%. That's great. If they bring somebody else in, that's 110%. So yeah, that's what this number is going to be here. So out of those appointments that you set, how many of them actually show up to the appointment, show up to the table? That's going to be your conversion rate for that. So the next one is the appointments kept to agreements. So agreements are going to be the exclusive agreements between you and your clients to do business with each other. So what this is saying is that 75% of our appointments that were kept, the people that actually showed up, are going to sign an exclusive agreement to do business with you. So that's when you get the paperwork involved. They sign on, say, yes, you are going to list my home, or yes, you're going to be my buyer agent here. And for this conversion rate, for the example, it's 75% of the people that come to the table actually end up signing an agreement with you. Now, yours may be different. You may be awesome. It may be 100%, and that would be amazing. But again, you can get that information if you start doing your opportunities.
Yeah.
That would, and then the next part is the
That would be great.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, if you could get
Why not?
every single one, yeah, shoot for the stars. But this part's more about the actual realistic numbers. So if we don't have realistic numbers, our numbers aren't going to work out, and it's gonna mislead us. So we definitely want to start doing those opportunities as much as possible. Every contact should have one. That way, you can actually find that number, and you can know exactly what you have to do in order to meet your goal. So the next one is agreements to under contract or pending. So that means that of those people that actually signed an agreement with you to do business, accepted legally binding offers on homes, or when the landlord and tenant have signed a lease. So that means that they're actually under contract or pending with you. So it's saying right now 75% of those people that signed an agreement actually went to under contract. The next part is the under contract to pending under contract or pending to close units. So once that sale's closed, so let's say 75% of those people that we were under contract with, those units closed and they sold, and we got that nice commission check. So that's going to be the conversion rate for that one. And again, these numbers may not be, you may have a guess of what that might be right now. You'll just kind of have to sit and think on it and kind of look back and see where you were at and how many contacts you brought in. But once you start tracking this with your opportunities, you will have very specific numbers. And the reason why it's good to have specific numbers is this next section here. So we'll hit save and continue.
I have a question. Because I'm confused in this part, because I put like crazy numbers and I was like, okay, GCI, I put like 150, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so always this number, you have to do you have to do 15,000 more, forget the 50,000, or you have to do 65 plus to get the 50.
Yeah. So
how do you compare?
Yeah, so in the beginning here, this is so your 2020 annual profit goal. So let's say, to make it easier, I want to say that I want to make $100,000 this year.
So the difference is 15,000 that you told me is the expenses and the cost, right?
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be this 2020 annual profit goal is how much we want to walk away with at the end of the year with as money that we have in our pocket. Then we have to pay taxes later on it, but we're gonna ignore that part of it for now. So this is how much you want to bring home from real estate in 1 year. Now, the next part, the expenses. This is how much any sort of expenses that happen, whether or not a transaction actually takes place. So if you go and buy somebody dinner, that's going to be an expense. If you have a transaction coordinator, that's going to be an expense. Lead generation. So if you're advertising somewhere, if you're advertising on Facebook, doing any of that lead generation, any sort of education, if you have an office, any car expenses to make it to the appointments there. If you do any sort of staging for the listings, that comes out of there as well. So you want to make kind of an estimate on how much you spend in expenses every year. So let's say in this case, I do a lot of staging and stuff. I spend a whole lot of money doing all that. So we'll say that my expenses are $20,000. Now you'll notice that this annual estimated GCI moves up to $128,000. The reason being is that I need to have my GCI at $128,000 in order for me to reach my annual profit goal of $100,000.
Yeah.
So it's just saying you're gonna have to make all this much because you're gonna have to spend this much. Yeah. So
you have to make a little more to get the 100 that you want. That's it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep,
Yeah, that's the easy part.
Yep.
Okay,
Exactly.
we can continue to the next.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
that
let
was
me
like,
finish.
I am thinking about it. I was like, okay.
That's all right.
I was like, okay, let me see if I understand completely. Yes. I understand.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. I can answer any questions you might have for the most part. So we went through and we set our conversion rates here, which you may not have an accurate number as of yet, but as time goes on, if you track those opportunities, you will have perfect numbers. So we'll hit save and continue. And this brings up with our goal review. So this is all the information we've put into it so far. This is what we fed it. So our annual profit goal, to make that 50,000, we've got to make at least, our GCI has to be at least 61,000. So we got to sell an extra home or two in order for us to make our goal. So one house or two houses or two sales are gonna be going away to our expenses and going away to the market center, all that. So we'll hit what's next here. And it just says that we're finished with the wizards. We're gonna go back to the goals here.
Okay.
And now, once we do that, it brings us to our goals area. So this is why those numbers are so important. This is why those conversion rates are extremely important. Because for this, we're looking at this year, our goals versus actual. So in order to meet our goal of making $50,000 in 1 year, this year we have to add 10,786 leads. So because of those 10,786 leads that we get, only 540 are going to become contacts. That's 5% of 10,786. So, and if you recall, of those 540 contacts, 5% of them are going to turn into actual appointments set. So that's 26%, or 26 of them there. I have to set 26 appointments at least in 1 year in order for me to reach my goal. And then of those 26, 75%, if I say, hey, let's meet up for coffee to talk about this, 75% say yes. That leads us down to 20. So we have to have 20 appointments kept. We've got to have 16 agreements. We've got to have 12 under contract, and we've got to close 8 units. So we have to sell 8 houses based on our average commission in order to reach that $50,000. So the really cool thing is, as well, is you can look at this on a monthly basis. So we change it from this year to this month. I've only got to get 1,798 leads this month in order to reach my goal. I've got to get 77 contacts, so 77 two-way conversations about real estate. But look, I've only got to get 4 appointments set. So I've only got to get 4 appointments out of those 77 contacts. And that's why it's important to get those accurate numbers. Those conversion rates are going to calculate exactly what you need to do in order to meet your goal. Yeah, so that's why starting an opportunity, I know a lot of people haven't been doing it since we released that tool, but it's super powerful. If you can track your conversion rates, you can know exactly where you're at within your year to meet your goal. And that's the biggest challenge with a lot of people is they just try to get as many leads as possible. They try to talk to as many people as they can, but they don't know exactly how many they need to talk to or where they're at in order to get to that point. And the great thing is if they're convert. Exactly. And that's also another thing is that if you notice that one of the conversion rates is pretty low, so let's say that my contacts to appointment set, let's say that somehow it's like 2% or 3%, I can look back and say, hey, that's not right. It should be a little bit higher. So you can go through and you can do some specified training on getting people from contacts to making that appointment. So you can go through, read some books, go through our training, our coaching that we provide on that specific step to bump that up to 5%, 10%, however much you need to. So it really gives you an overview of the overall health of your business and what you need to do better. So yeah, it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I want to understand a little bit more because I was looking at all and I just started doing numbers and try to understand. But right now I see this complete page and it's easier because you don't focus on a lot of things. You focus on what you have as by month. So it's not getting you crazy all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to juggle 50,000 different things at one time. You can just say, okay, I need to do this. This is what I need to do this month. This is where I'm at. And also, as we go through this, so since I'm not doing any real estate, if I actually added leads on here, it would give me a percentage of like what % I am at leads, what % of contacts, appointments set. And that's why it's so important to use those opportunities, is because this information is fed from opportunities. So if I get an opportunity and I get one lead, put him on an opportunity, and then let's say he turns into a contact and I push it along in that pipeline, it's going to update this number here. And then further,
Okay.
further, yeah. So yeah,
So
so from
it's
this,
connected. When you put it in the pipeline, it's connected to this part.
exactly. So yeah, if we even take a look here, I've got a couple of listings here. I'm going to move these over to the appointment stage. So I've got a couple of these guys here. Looks like I'm buying a lot of houses on here. Let me throw those in there. So now if we go to our goals area, and we go to
Show
our
you that.
reports, oops, there we go. So now you can see that number increased because I've got more context. So I'm 14% there.
Oh yeah.
And then the appointment set, 8% there now. And it even breaks it down by listings and buyers. So really, really cool thing. I can see, so we'll go to this one. There we go. So just moving those people over to appointment set, I've increased it to 25%. So I'm at 25% of my monthly goal here. And if I move them through the pipeline again to appointments kept, this 25% stays the same, but this is going to increase. If I push them on over to agreements, that'll stay there, and it just kind of goes down the pipeline there. So opportunities is the most important part of Command as far as I'm concerned. You can track all your data, you can track your business. It's just all around a great tool.
Awesome. Yes, I understand that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
On time. So you have the next class.
Exactly.
You have
Yeah.
DocuSign, right?
That is not until
I guess.
12:30, but let me see here.
Okay.
Take a quick look. I think I have another.
I miss all the DocuSigns, and we are lost on that part.
Oh,
So
that's
you have
okay.
videos for that?
I do actually. We have an entire YouTube channel. Let me cut this out here. So I've been making videos for our market center training. So they're short, very short videos on each aspect of the transaction process for adding somebody into opportunities and creating DocuSign or signing in DocuSign. I'll go ahead and send that out. Let me see if I can find it here.
Thank you so much for explanation.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see if I can find it here. So I have an entire playlist here that goes through the process, very short videos for each step of the process. That way it's not like an hour-long one video of how to do something. It's split into small chunks. So I'll send that in the chat here. And I'll also be doing the training at 12:30. But feel free to watch those videos to reference. And if you do need any help during the transaction or any specific questions, feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call, shoot me a text. I'm definitely happy to help out and answer any questions.
Okay, great. Let me copy this here and we'll save it because I cannot assist to the 12:30. So I will check the videos here.
Yeah,
okay.
No problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Thanks for joining up. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help out.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. And thank you for the fast explain.
Of course. No problem. You have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.